Hello, this is part 10 of a tutorial series on how to code the Asteroids game using Scratch. And what I'd like to focus on in this video is doing something rather more interesting with the graphics so that it doesn't look quite so cartoon-like. And actually what I'd really like to do is give it a kind of retro look so that it has the appearance of the original 1979 version by Atari, and that involves making the ship this kind of triangle shape, and the asteroids themselves are just these round, jaggedy shapes, and it's just white lines on a black background, so that it has a real retro look. And so the first thing I'm going to do is look at the costume for the ship. And I obviously don't need any of these spare costumes because the ship only needs one costume to it. And I'm going to draw it as a white kind of triangle-shaped chevron using straight lines. So here's the straight line tool. And to get a white line, I need to turn the brightness up to 100 and the saturation down to 0. And now, using the squares, I'm going to line it up, making the shape like this, just clicking and releasing, clicking and releasing. And there we are, nice and quick. Now, obviously you can't see it here because the background is all white. So I'm going to first of all do something with the backdrop to backdrop 1 and the scenery. I don't need these ships, so let's get rid of that and that line I just drew. And I'm going to do a black background, so I'll turn the brightness down to 0, and I'll just draw a rectangle there to begin with. Now then, what I need to do is move it over, stretch it out, and then move it back again to make sure it fills the whole screen. And right, so let's have a look. So there's my ship. Let's start that over again. I'm quite happy with the way that looks. So the next job is to, well, I'm on the background, so I might as well, like I did before, arrange the 3 ships for the 3 lives that you start out with. So back to my rocket ship. Let's copy this shape. Back to the stage, paste this in, hold down Shift to turn it round. Now this next bit's a bit fiddly, and I was getting quite frustrated with this because if I try to move it, it just resizes it, and I don't want to do that. And I found that the trick is just to click off it and then go back over it again and drag it before it's selected. So I'm going to move it up to the edge here, and now I'm going to zoom in, maybe not so far. Now what I want is 3 ships in a straight line down the side. So a tip to making everything in a straight line is to actually draw a line. I'll hold down Shift to draw a line here. And that way I know that it's going to go exactly straight down. I'll line up that ship with that line to begin with, and copy and paste. And the next ship I'll put underneath, lined up with the line, paste another one, line that up. I'm getting the spacing just by eyeing it up, but I think that's good enough. Delete that line. So now I have 3 ships nicely lined up down the side for the first scene. So what I will do is I'll pause the video quickly and I'll make the rest of the backgrounds. I need two ships here, one ship here. I'll turn that black and that one black. Okay. Okay, welcome back. I've made the rest of my backdrops. There's backdrop 1, backdrop 2. Like I did before, I just copied backdrop 1 and deleted a ship. And the same again for backdrop 3. There's the game over scene. I've turned that writing white. And I drew a rectangle in the background. I've drawn a rectangle in the background for this. I haven't turned the writing white yet. After drawing the rectangle, I needed to move it back because it went over the top of the writing. So just clicking here moves it down to underneath the writing. And I'll select that, click on Fill, and like before, turning the saturation to 0 turns the writing white. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what I've got so far. I've got black backgrounds, I've got ships that show my lives, so I'm very happy with that. The next thing to do then is fix the graphics for the rock. And in the original, they are kind of almost a circle that's made up of points around the outside, with some of the points going right into the center. So I'm going to show you a trick on how to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle. So holding down Shift so that it makes a circle rather than an oval. I've drawn a circle by way of guidance, and now I'm back on that line. I need to make it white, so brightness up to 100, saturation down to 0. And now going around the outline, or outside of the circle, I'm drawing some lines. I'm going to have some that go right in and some that just kind of skirt around the edge. Let's have another one that goes in here. And maybe another one that goes in a little bit. And back to the beginning. So there we are. I've drawn one asteroid. Right, now then, I don't want all my asteroids looking the same, so I'm going to duplicate this. And now here's a little trick I can show you as well. I can make some more asteroids quite quickly. This is a tool that edits the point on a line. So I can move these points around so that they go in different places. And just by moving them slightly, I'm going to make every asteroid look slightly different. Let's have another one. Let's have one that doesn't look quite so juggedy. Each time I'm just right-clicking and then duplicating it. Let's make this one look really jaggedy. I didn't quite grab the point there. So let's try that again. Right, so that one almost to the middle. Another one going in quite a long way. Let's have these pointing outwards. Let's make that one go in a bit further. Right, so I've got 4 differently shaped asteroids. I'm quite happy with those. Now that I've done that, I can click on the purple circle each time and just press delete, and that gets rid of that. And now I can see what that starts to look like. Right, it's starting to look a bit more authentic. Now you will notice that all the large rocks are the same shape at the moment because I haven't asked the computer to vary the shape at all. So it's giving me the same shape every time. So in the rock sprite, I'm going back to the code, and when it starts as a clone, I need to get it to choose a different costume each time. So I can switch the costume. Now, when I click on here, I can only choose one of the 4 costumes that I've done. So it's not going to choose a different one each time unless I use a random number, which is in the options here. So I can get it to pick a random number between 1 and 4. I've got 4 costumes, so I need a random number between 1 and 4, and that will actually go in there. And I can put that straight under the where it says when I start as a clone. So now this time we can make sure that it's giving us different shapes every time, and it clearly is. There's a really jaggedy one, another really jaggedy one, and a round one. So that's nice and clear. So I need to do the same thing for the small rocks. So I'm going to pause the video and make a quick edit again, and when I come back, I'll have completed the small rocks and we'll continue with the other things that we're doing. Okay, welcome back again. So now I have 4 slightly different small rocks, and back in the code, I need to make sure it chooses a random costume after the clone is created. So when the clone is created, it's going to switch the costume to a random number between 1 and 4, like I did last time. And the last costume to change is the lightning, which is the easiest one to do because really all I want is just a white rectangle. So choosing the rectangle shape, I'm going to make sure it fills a white colour. I'm going to draw a white rectangle here. Make sure it's not too small because, like I said before, one way in which it can glitch this game is if the sprites are too small, and when you fire a laser or a bullet, if it's too small, it's just going to step over especially the small rocks, and that way neither of the rocks or the lightning will be deleted. Okay, right, I'm going to see how this looks now. Right, well, I'm very happy with this. This looks quite authentic. One thing I have noticed through playing the game is that when rocks get stuck on the edges, sometimes it can be quite difficult to delete them when firing at them because it seems like the lightning doesn't make contact with them sometimes. And I think to help with that, I'm going to change the way this works here inside the lightning code. Because at the moment I've got it that when it touches the edge, the lightning just gets deleted. And I think it's going to be better to match the code here. So if it touches the edge, then what I can do instead is make it so that this hit variable gets changed to 1, and then it gets deleted the next time round. So the lightning will actually go up to the edge and make contact with the rocks at the same time. So, okay, we have an authentic looking retro Asteroids game with quite realistic gameplay and movement, and there's really only one thing that I would like to do now to finish this game off, and that's add some retro sound effects, and that's going to be what happens in the next video. Okay.